That's okay, Israel. Even in the midst of crisis, the scripture tells us to have hope. Have hope. This, and just because we're in difficult circumstances, it doesn't change the fact. In fact, the circumstances brings life to what we believe. Our desire is for the kingdom, and the kingdom is not coming without violence. The kingdoms of this world must be broken. In every sense of the word, brothers and sisters. Out of the ashes of that brokenness, the kingdom of Yah will rise and rule forever. So don't fear, brothers and sisters, and don't stress at the things that are coming upon the earth, the wars, the famines, the pestilence, the disease. Don't stress at that. Rest assured and be confident that the Most High will deliver us out of all of our troubles. So before we go into our lesson, let's give First Thessalonians real quick. First Thessalonians 5:16. Let's grab that scripture real quick.
You said First Thessalonians 5:16?
Yes, Officer Maccabees.
All right.
First Thessalonians 5:16.
Book of First Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 16. Rejoice evermore. In
Through 18,
everything.
brother. Through 18.
What did you say?
16 through 18.
Oh, through 18, okay. Rejoice evermore. Pray without ceasing. In everything, give thanks. For this is the will of Yah and Yahweh Shai concerning you.
Rejoice always. Rejoice evermore. Rejoice always. And pray without ceasing. In everything, give thanks. So it doesn't matter your circumstance. It only matters your belief, your faith, and your works. That's what matters the most. Let's get one more before we go into our lesson. Let's get 2 Corinthians 4:17 through 18. So 17th verse and 18th verse.
2 Corinthians 4, verses 17 and 18. For our light affliction, which is but for a moment, worketh for us as a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory, while we look not at the things which are seen,
Come on.
but at the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal.
So the things that are not seen are eternal. What we see is we see a crisis, we see war, we see oil prices are going up, we see food prices going up, plus the famine, we see pestilence, we see disease, we see death, dying. Don't let these things shake you. Because the things that we don't see, the kingdom that we do not see with our physical eye is coming. It's coming. So we have to have hope. Not fear, but hope. All right. Officer Maccabees, did you get all of the links that I sent you?
I think I did. Let me go to them. Which one you want me to get?
None of them yet. I just wanted to make sure that you had them.
Oh, yeah, I got them.
Okay, great. All right. So last week we left off at Revelations, the 8th chapter. This week we're going into the 9th chapter. But first, we want to go back to 8 and 13. I believe that's the last verse. I believe that's the last verse in chapter 8. So we have to remember that they didn't have chapters, books. They had books, but they didn't have chapters and verses when these things were written. That's a new concept, chapters and verses. These are letters that are written and they just ran straight through. So to keep to keep with the process of with the flow of the scripture, we're going to begin again with Revelations 8 and 13 and jump over into 19 and keep it moving. Right? So as always, I'll read the Revelations, the 9th chapter, and the scribes can pick up the corresponding precept that goes with the verse. Right? So Revelations, I'll grab this one, Revelations 8 and 13. And I beheld, and I heard. If everyone could please mute yourselves, because it distracts everyone else. So if you're unmuted during the lesson, please mute yourself. Please mute yourself. Now, Officer Maccabees, you are a co-host. So if you see someone that's not muted, please mute them. Please do so. All right, Revelations 8 and 13. And I beheld, and I heard an angel flying through the midst of heaven, saying with a loud voice, "Woe, woe, woe to the inhabitants of the earth by reason of by the other voices of the trumpet of the three angels, which are yet to sound." As we had already stated, these prophecies are not in chronological order. As we have already stated, that these prophecies are not in chronological order. We got to remember that in Revelations 8 and 2, there were 7 angels, and these 7 angels were given 7 trumpets. Each of the trumpets that are being blown is the beginning of a new period of calamities. They are coming upon the earth. So when the trumpets are blown, there is a calamity that is coming up on the earth. So let's get into it here. Revelations 9 and 1. Revelations 9 and 1. And the 5th angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth. And to him was given the key of the bottomless pit. We'll read it again. And the 5th angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth. And to him was given a key of the bottomless pit. So 2 things here, and we're going to deal with both of them. Let's deal with the star that fell from heaven. Let's get Isaiah 14. And we're going to start at verse 12, and we're going to read to 15.
The book of Isaiah, chapter 14, verse 12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nation?
Read it again. Read verse 12 again.
All right. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning?
Lucifer, son of the morning. Come on.
How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the heavens?
It did
weaken the nation.
Weaken the nation. So listen, here we understand something here that perhaps the Christian church don't understand. What we know that they don't understand. This is not talking about a spiritual demon, Satan. This is not talking about a spirit. Lucifer here is a nation of men. How can we prove that? Before we read further, let's drop down to verse 21. This is how we know that this is a nation of men.
All right. Isaiah chapter 14, verse 21. Prepare slaughter for his children, for the iniquity of their fathers, that they do not rise, nor possess the land, nor fill the face of the world with cities.
Nor fill the face of the world with the city. So this is a nation of people. Prepare slaughter for those children. Whose children? Lucifer's children. This is a nation of people. This is what this is talking about. Lucifer don't have fathers. That's plural there. This is a nation of people that's going to have to suffer a punishment for their deeds. Let's go back up to verse 12 and read down to 15.
All right. Isaiah 14, verse 12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the nations? For thou hast said in thy heart, I will ascend unto heaven. I will exalt my throne above the stars of Yah. I will sit also upon the mount of the congregation in the sides of the north. I will ascend above the heights of the clouds. I will be like the Most High. Yet thou shalt be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit.
Yet shall thou be brought down to hell, to the sides of the pit. Now, this is not, as I said, the spiritual demon Satan, but however, the same rebellious nature of Hashatan, or the spiritual demon Satan, is given to his children. Satan does have children on earth. Let's get 1 John 3 and 10. 1 John 3 and 10.
1 John 3 and 10. In this the children of Yah are manifest, and the children of the devil. Whosoever doeth not righteousness is not of Yah, neither is he that loveth not his brother.
So we want to take from that verse 10, in this the children of Yah are manifest, and the children of the devil. So the devil have children on earth as well. These children in this particular scripture in Isaiah is referred to as Lucifer. As a matter of fact, let's read verse 14 and 12 one more time. Isaiah 14 and 12.
Isaiah chapter 14, verse 12. How art thou fallen from heaven, O Lucifer, son of the morning? How art thou cut down to the ground, which didst weaken the
nations. So that word Lucifer there in Hebrew is halali. Halali is Strong's H1984. And it actually means in the sense of brightness. It means morning star. It actually means to be above. It actually means to be above, or the shining one. It is an epithet for the king of Babylon. It is above the people, above the nation. It means to be above. See, there's rank and order in everything that the Most High does. Matter of fact, let's go to Job. Let's go to Job 38 and 7. Job 38 and 7. Let me show you what I mean. The bright and morning star. I seen something on social media the other day said that it was a non-New Testament believer that said that Yahushua said he was the bright morning star, so that must mean he's the devil. I've seen
Job 38.
I've seen this nonsense.
Job 38 and 7. When the morning stars sang together, and all the sons of Yah shouted for joy.
When the morning stars, plural, meaning there's more than one morning star. This is a rank and file system in the heavens. When the morning stars, plural, more than one, meaning the shiny ones, the ones that are above the rest of the sons of Yah, or the rest of the ones that are above the other angels. So it's the same thing here on earth. The Most High would have the nation of Israel as being the morning stars, the bright ones, the illuminated ones, the ones that are above the people. But here in Isaiah, Lucifer, that nation, have placed themselves above the people. What should be our position, they covet that position. The morning star position. Now let's deal with, let's go back to Revelations 9 and 1, and let's deal with that bottomless pit portion. Revelations 9 and 1, and the fifth angel sounded, and I saw a star fall from heaven unto the earth, and to him was given the key to the bottomless pit. So how did the ones that is over the nations, or the shiny ones, or the illuminated ones, how did they get this key? How did they get this key to the bottomless pit? That's one. And how and what actually is the bottomless pit? Let's go to Revelation 13.
13 and what?
Start at verse 1.
The book of Revelation, chapter 13, verse 1. And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea, having 7 heads and 10 horns, and upon his horns 10 crowns, and upon his head the name of blasphemy.
The name of blasphemy. Now, we went through this before, but it's good to always review it, go over it again. So let's do it. The 7, who are the 7 heads? Who are the 7 heads of this beast? You have Great Britain. I won't go through the whole thing with you all. We did it in prior lessons. Great Britain, Russia, Germany, France, Rome, Italy, Spain, Greece. The 7 heads are Great Britain, Russia, Germany, France, Rome, Italy, Spain, Greece. These are the 7 heads. This beast has 7 heads. It also have 10 horns. 10 horns up on his 10 horns and 10 crowns, right? Who are the 10 crowns and what are the 10 crowns? The 10 crowns is what you call the 10 common markets. That's what's known as the 10 common markets. The 10 common markets are NATO, right? So let's go through them. Belgium. If you look it up, it will say 12 founding members, member countries of NATO, which are Belgium, Canada, Denmark, France, Iceland, Italy, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Norway, Portugal, United Kingdom, and the United States. Now, the United States are the 2 founding members. The other 10, they joined at a later time. Right now, you have a total of 30. But at the beginning, these were the 10 common markets: Belgium, Canada, Denmark, France, Iceland, Italy, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Norway, and Portugal. These are the beast. These are the beast. Now, Revelation 13 and 2.
Verse 2. And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard.
That's Greece. Like unto a leopard, that's Greece. Read on.
And his feet were as the feet of a bear.
That's Russia. Read on.
And his mouth as the mouth of a lion.
That's Great Britain or the United Kingdom. Read on.
And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority.
These have the key to the bottomless pit. They have the power. They have the authority. They have the power. They have the authority. Let's get Revelation 17 and 8 real quick. They have the key to the bottomless pit.
Revelation 17 and 8. The beast that thou sawest was, and is not, and shall ascend out of the bottomless pit, and go into perdition. And they that dwell on the earth shall wonder whose names were not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world.
These nations were not written in the book of life. Read.
When they behold the beast that was, and is not, and yet is.
And yet is. The beast that was, meaning the power that they had, and is not, that is no longer in existence, that power, that authority, that key, no longer in existence, and yet is, meaning the people is not totally wiped out. They're going into servitude. They're going after their kingdom is destroyed. They're going into servitude. Now let's go back to Revelations 9:2. Revelations 9:2. And it reads, and he opened the bottomless pit, and there arose a smoke out of the pit, as the smoke of a great furnace, and the sun and the air were darkened by reason of the smoke of the pit. And there came out of the smoke locusts upon the earth, and unto them was given power, as the scorpions of the earth have power. Now, the prophet here is equating the nation that he's speaking about in the bottomless pit. He's equating them with locusts. Locusts are large grasshoppers that live, watch this, that live on almost every continent of the world, and are known for their propensity to gather in large destructive swarms. So they live on every continent. He's speaking to the essence of what he is saying. They live on every continent, and they have a propensity to gather in large swarms and have a destructive nature about them. Can you think of any nation on earth that does this? This is what the prophet is equating them to. This is what he's equating them to. And he also says in verse 3, and they are given a power, as the scorpions on the earth have power. Now, if you go to the Britannica, under the ecology of the habits of a scorpion, it says, scorpions are non-social, solitary species that interact only at birth or during mating, or for cannibalism. They are often aggressive and are usually considered invigorated. Invigorated means they never change. So sure as the iron rust, so is your enemy. They never change. This is their nature. Let's go back to chapter 9 and verse 4. Just bear with me, we're building up something here. Verse 4. And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the grass of the earth, neither any green thing, neither any tree, but only those men which have not the seal of Yah in their foreheads. So total destruction was held back because of the 144,000, and the multitude were not as of yet sealed. Verse 5. And to them it was given that they should not kill them, but that they should be tormented 5 months. And their torment was the torment of a scorpion when he striketh a man. So this is describing, brothers and sisters, this is describing the first woe, meaning this is the first world war. A war lasting almost 5 years, from July 28, 1914 to November 11th, 1918, to be more exact. Shots were fired 4 years, 3 months, 2 weeks, 5 years, if you add in those treaties when before they took effect. So these 5 months are 5 years of the First World War. This is what Apostle John is seeing. Verse 6. And in those days shall men seek death, and shall not find it, and shall desire to die, and death shall flee from him. Meaning this war was so horrific brothers and sisters. This war was so horrific that men would rather be dead than be in this war or be the way they were injured. They were technology, or the medical technology was not like it is. So if your foot got blown off or your leg got blown off or you have half a face or half a neck or something, I mean, it was horrible. You know, there was no graphics or nothing that could put you back together. You know, you just was, you know, in a pretty bad situation. This was one of the worst wars in the world. This is one of the worst wars in the world. And because of this pain and this anguish of war, men wished that they could find death. Now, brother, if Officer Maccabees, if you could go to the first image, please. This is verse 7. Verse 7 says, and the shapes of the locusts were like unto horses prepared unto battle, and on their heads were as it were crowns like gold, and their faces were the faces of men. Can you pull up that first image?
Is it the one where they sitting on the
Yeah.
Okay.
They're all in order. I have them all in order. The way I sent them to you. It's right up under verse 7. We out here in the sticks somewhat, so you all have to pray for our internet service.
Yeah, this is the one you said. I just got this one right here.
Excuse me.
Did you send me a different one besides this one?
No, I did. It's pretty much the same thing. One was in the text, the other one was in the email.
Oh, okay. Let me check my email. Yeah. Let's see. I don't see you sent me an email today.
No? Well, somebody got it. It might not have been.
Let me check my junk mail. Make sure it doesn't go to my junk mail. Ah, there we go.
Yeah, that's the first image right
there. Okay.
Is there any way you can blow that image up?
Let's see. I can just zoom in on it.
Yeah, all praises. All praises. Hopefully everyone can see that, get a real good look at that. I'm gonna read verse 7 again. Verse 7, Revelations 9 and 7. And the shapes of the locusts were like unto horses, prepared unto battle, and on their heads was it as it were crowns like gold, and their faces were as the faces of men. Now this heavy machinery here, this tank, looks like locusts on the earth. Looks like, look, this is what the prophet was seeing. These are images from World War I. This old tank here, and to see the men on top of there, some of them have on caps, but others have, I believe, have on the helmets, which we're going to view in a minute. But those tanks right there is what Apostle John was seeing. So he was seeing. Let's go to the next image. These are the shapes of locusts were like unto horses prepared to battle. And as for the crowns of gold, this is what the entrymen wore. And on their heads were, as it were, crowns like gold. And their faces were the faces of men. So this is what the apostle was viewing in his vision. This is what he was seeing. There's another shot of some helmets too, probably below there, Officer Maccabees. Probably below there. Yep, there he is. Now those are the captains, lieutenants, and majors Those are the officer helmets. Officer helmets that they wore in those times. Let's get one more shot of those tanks. If you go down, if you scroll down, there's another tank there. Should be up there. It is. This is the locust coming out of the pit of smoke. This is what he was talking about when he said the pit. It was in the pit. It's coming up. It's coming up. There's smoke. You have to have a mind's eye to see this. There's war going on. There's smoke. There's smoke all around. Here come this thing that the prophet, this first century prophet, could not have, had to try to somehow describe what he was looking at. Look like locusts on earth. There will be thousands of these things, having a destructive nature swarming around. This is how he had to describe them. This is how he had to describe them. Verse 8. Verse 8 says, and they had hair as the hair of women, and their teeth were as the teeth of lions. Let's go to the next image. Boom, there it is. That's what he was seeing. That's what he was seeing. Hair like the hair of women. This is what he was seeing. The tanks in camouflage. There's all kind of materials. I don't know if those branches or not. I'm not really sure. It's a black and white photo, but those are covering the tanks, and their teeth were the teeth of lions. Look at the wheels of the tank. The wheels of the tank, it's like teeth, the teeth of lions. Verse 9 says, and their breast and they had a breastplates, as it were breastplates of iron, and the sound of their wings was as the sound of chariots of many horses running a battle. If you can scroll down a little bit and click on that link, let's hear what they sound like.
Finally, I finish off this list with armored vehicles, and one in particular, the tank.
This is what they sound like. They look like
In 1916, the British Army was the first to utilize armored vehicles for warfare. The largest tank to serve in World War I for the British was the Mark V, which had all the external features of the previous model, the Mark IV, but it included a more powerful drivetrain and transmission. It also introduced a multiple clutch system with 4 forward gears and 1 reverse. A more powerful 19-litre 6-cylinder inline Ricardo engine was also installed, which produced 150 horsepower. The armament was 2 6-pounder 57mm guns and 4 7.7 Hotchkiss Mark I machine guns. The Mark V made its combat debut at the Battle of Hamel on July 4th, 1918, where it successfully supported Australian troops in action. The maximum speed of the tank was a sluggish 8 kilometers per hour, but as you can see in the Battlefield 1 gameplay in the background, the developers had to crank up the speed to balance out the mechanics. Now you can imagine that if you're a German infantryman encountering this behemoth for the first time, it would have been very demoralizing indeed.
That's one less machine gun!
So as you can see, brothers and sisters, this thing right here was what the prophet was seeing was, it looks like a locust. It looks like it's coming out of a pit of smoke. It sounds like a chariot. The only thing he can describe it as. It sounds like a chariot. It's a breastplate of iron. It sounds like wings of many horses running the battle. This is what it sounds like to him. It's the only way he can describe it. Let's go back to Revelations chapter 9 and verse 10.
If I could add on to that too, I was just you looking at the ground around it. There ain't no grass and no trees or nothing either. They didn't ran it all down.
That's right. It totally destroyed that area. Totally destroyed that area. That's right. Revelations 9 and 10. And they had tails like unto scorpions. And their Salakia, verse 10 again. And they had tails like unto scorpions, and there were stings in their tails, and their power was to hurt men 5 months. 5 months, which was 4.5 years of shooting, and the treaty, and when the treaty was signed as bringing peace, just shy of 5 years. Verse 11. And they had a king over them, which is the angel of the bottomless pit, whose name in Hebrew tongue is Abaddon. And in the Greek tongue, his name was Apollyon. So Abaddon, Apollyon. Okay, let's see here. Let's deal with this. Let's see here. Right. So Abaddon, the name of the angel, the messenger, actually means in Hebrew, Prince of the Infernal Regions. It also means the minister of death. It also means the author of havoc on the earth. Abaddon, Apollyon. It means messenger, prince of the infernal regions, the minister of death, and the author of havoc on earth. Let's pull up this guy. Excuse me. You can pull him up if you want to. I don't know if Officer Maccabees, if you can pull him up. I didn't send you this, but if you can pull him up, that's fine. If not, that's fine as well. You can look this guy up. You all can look this guy up on your own studies. This guy Wilhelm. Matter of fact, let me spell it. It's Wilhelm. William the Second.
Wilhelm.
Say again.
Wilhelm
the Second, 1859 to 1941. The German Kaiser. Now, the word Kaiser means emperor. The German Kaiser or German emperor, the king of Prussia from 1888 to 1918. One of the most, check this dude out, one of the most recognizable public figures of World War I. His verbal outbursts and his open enjoyment of the title of Supreme Warlord helped bolster the cause of those who blamed him for the conflict. So World War I was blamed on this dude here. He was the emperor. He was the emperor of Germany. Everybody blamed him for all of these countries jumping off. Yeah, there he is right there. That's the cat right there. That's it. That's it. He was the supreme warlord. So let's read the scripture again in verse 11 while you got him up there. Excuse me. And they had a king over them. Who had a king? Who was the they he's talking about? The locust and the beast. That's who he's talking about. They had a king over them, which is the angel or the messenger of the bottomless pit, which is in Europe. The bottomless pit is Europe, brothers and sisters. That's what the Bible calls the bottomless pit, whose name in the Hebrew tongue is Abaddon, and in the Greek tongue have his name Apollyon. Abaddon means destroyer. Of course, Apollyon means destroyer. We have Wilhelm II, German Kaiser, Emperor Perusia. His label is Supreme Warlord. This guy instigated this war. He wanted this war, and he enjoyed it. He enjoyed the title. The most deadliest and bloodiest war on earth. He loved it. All right. That's enough for him. Let's go to Revelations 9 and 12. One woe is past, and behold, there comes two woes more after. So the first world war is past. That's the first woe. It is past. Two more is coming. You have the Second World War. You have the last impending World War. So let's just do a brief synopsis of the two woes that's coming. Let's first get Revelations 11 and 7. We're gonna read 7 verses here, 7 through 14.
Revelation 11, verses 7 through 14. And when they shall have finished their testimony, the beast that ascendeth out of the bottomless pit shall make war against them, and shall overcome them and kill them. And their dead bodies shall lie in the streets of the great city, which spiritually is called Sodom and Egypt, where also our Most High was crucified, or Messiah was crucified. And they of the people and kindreds and tongues and nations shall see their dead bodies 3 days and a half.
So dead bodies 3 days and a half is 350 years. 3 days and a half is 350 years.
And shall not suffer their dead bodies to be put in graves. And they that dwell upon the earth shall rejoice over them and make merry, and shall send gifts one to another, because these two prophets tormented them that dwell on the earth. That dwelt on the earth. The two
prophets that the Bible is speaking of is Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom. That's for those who don't know. Go ahead, Deacon Kiefer, verse 11.
And after 3 days and a half, the spirit of life from Yah entered into them, and they stood upon their feet, and great fear fell upon them which saw them. And they heard a great voice from heaven saying unto them, come up hither. And they ascended up to heaven in a cloud, and their enemies beheld them.
So we are in the first part of this, in verse 11 and verse 12, the first part of verse 12, we are in that time frame right now, because this is essentially Ezekiel 37, where we are standing on our feet. These dead bones have came alive again, both Northern Kingdom and Southern Kingdom, and we are now being rejuvenated, having that spirit placed upon us after that 350 years of being in this country. The truth started to be spread abroad once again. Where do we leave off? Verse 13?
13. Revelation 11 and 13. And the same hour was there a great earthquake, and the 10th part of the city fell. And in the earthquake were slain of men 7,000. And the remnant were affrighted and gave glory to the Most High.
Come on.
The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly.
We are in the second woe, brothers and sisters. We are in the first part of the second woe. We are in the first part of the second woe right now. We're in the first part. All right, now let's get a brief synopsis of the third woe. There's Revelations 12 and 11.
Book of Revelation, chapter 12, verse 11. And they overcame him by the blood of the Lamb and by the word of their testimony, and they loved not their lives unto the death. Therefore rejoice, ye heavens, and ye that dwell in them. Woe to the inhabitants of the earth and of the sea, for the devil is come down unto you, having great wrath, because he knoweth that he hath but a short time.
But a short time. That third woe is coming quickly to put him to an end, to put him to an end. All right, let's go back to Revelations 9 and 13. And it reads, and the sixth angel sounded, and I heard a voice from the four horns of the golden altar, which is before Yah, saying to the sixth angel, which have the trumpet, loose the four angels, which are bound in the great river Euphrates. Read verse 14 again. Saying to the sixth angel, which had the trumpet, loose the four angels, which are bound in the great river Euphrates. Now, I don't want none of us to believe that there's actually four big old angels somehow chained up in the river in Euphrates somewhere, just waiting to be loosed. We got to deal with this. We got to deal with this scripturally. So, who are these four angels, these four messengers? Who are they? And what does it mean that they are bound in the great river Euphrates? To be bound in the great river Euphrates means to live near, to live off the banks of this great river Euphrates. All right. What four major countries live off of the banks? Because it runs through four major countries. It runs through four major countries. And they are, Syria is one. Iraq is another. Iran is one. And Turkey. That's four major countries in which the great river Euphrates runs through. Now, there's many other smaller nations that live off of the banks of this vast river. It makes up probably about 23 million other peoples that live around that region. But the ones we're focusing on is the four messengers bound in the great river, which is Syria, Iraq, Iran, Turkey. Let us go to 2nd Ezra 15 and 28. All of these things are the plan of the Most High. All of these land masses, they are strategically placed. They are strategically placed for prophecy, for prophecy to be fulfilled. 2nd Ezra 15, 28 through 30.
2nd Ezra 15, 28 through 30. Behold, a horrible vision, and the appearance thereof from the east, where the nations of the dragons of Arabia shall come out of with many chariots.
Where are they coming from? Deacon Kiefer, where are they coming from?
The Arabia, the nations of Arabia.
Come on.
Shall come out with many chariots, and the multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon the earth.
War. Remember last week we said that these winds meant war. They shall be carried as the wind upon the earth. War. War is coming. This is ground war. Come on.
The multitude of them shall be carried as the wind upon the earth, that all that they which hear them may fear and tremble.
Come on.
Also the Carmanians raging
also
in wrath.
Also the Carmanians. Who are the Carmanians? The Carmanians are the Iranians. They are going to join with Syria, Turkey, and Iraq, creating a vast army to come out of the lands of the Arabia. Read on.
Also the Carmanians raging in wrath shall go forth as the wild boars of the wood. And with great power shall they come and join battle with them, and shall waste a portion of the land of the Assyrians.
It shall waste a portion of the land of Syria. The land of Syria. All this vast region is what where we're going to have lots and lots of fighting, brothers. This is a lot of war going on at this time. let's go back to Revelations, Revelations of 9 and 15. And the 4 angels were loose: Syria, Turkey, Iran, and Iraq. The 4 angels were loose, which were prepared for an hour, and a day, and a month, and a year, for to slay a third part of men. This is going to be a vast army, brothers and sisters, a vast army, and they're going to do war. They're going to get down. They're going to get down. Oh yeah. Verse 16. And the number of the army of the horsemen were 200,000. And I heard the number of them, and I saw the horses in the vision, and they that sat on them, having breastplates of fire and jacinth and brimstone, and the heads of the horses were as the heads of lions, and out of their mouths issued fire and smoke and brimstone. Verse 18 is going to tell us what killed them. By these 3 were the third part of men killed, by the fire and by the smoke and by the brimstone, which issued out of their mouths. What is the prophet saying? Give me the next link. Give me the next link. It issued out of their mouths. And for the power, verse 19, for their power is in their mouth and in their tails. For tails were like unto serpents, and had heads, and with them they do hurt. What is he talking about? This is what he's talking about right here. For their power is out of their mouth. Out of their mouth, and in their tails. And their tails were like unto serpents. And heads, and with them they do hurt. Nuclear armament inside these missiles, these ICBM missiles. Looks like the tail of a snake, doesn't it? All right, that's all I want with that. That's all I want. Let's get Isaiah 54 and 16. Isaiah 54 and 16.
Book of Isaiah chapter 54, verse 16. Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and bringeth forth an instrument for his work.
This instrument was created for a specific work. It got a job to do. Oh yeah, you're gonna get this work. Have you ever seen that rap? That dude that do that rap? But you're gonna get this work. That's what these ICBM missiles is right here. You're gonna get this work. You're gonna get this work. Read it again. Behold, I have created. Come on.
Behold, I have created the smith that bloweth the coals in the fire, and that bringeth forth an instrument for his work.
Read.
And I have created the waster to destroy.
I have created the waster to destroy. That there, what we just seen, that thing was created to destroy. That ain't no plaything. Got a nuclear warhead on the front of that thing. It has a tail like a serpent, and it had heads on it. Listen, the scripture is a very real book. It is very descriptive. Brother John, he can describe some things, I tell you. It had heads. And with them heads, he said, it do hurt. They do hurt. That's right. Let's get 2 Ezra 15 one more time. And this time go to start at verse 40. I think we're gonna read down a bit. Verse 40 to 44.
2 Ezra 15, 40 through 44. The great and mighty clouds shall be puffed up, full of wrath. and the star, that they may make all the earth afraid, and them that dwell therein. And they shall pour out over every high and eminent place a horrible star, fire and hail, and flying swords.
Same
And many
thing, Brother John seen. Same thing, Brother John seen, Apostle John seen, is the same thing Ezra seen. Same thing. Flying swords, fire, hail, smoke. Come on.
Fire and hail, and flying swords, and many waters, that
Many
all
waters.
fields may be full, and all rivers with abundance of great waters. And they shall break down the cities and walls, mountains and hills, trees of the wood, and grass of the meadows, and their corn. And they shall go steadfastly unto Babylon, and make her afraid. They shall come to her and besiege her. The star and all wrath shall they pour out upon her. Then shall the dust and smoke go up unto heaven, and all they that be about her shall bewail her.
And all they that be about her shall be lamented. Look what they did to old Babylon, Mystery Babylon. Look what they did. But you gonna get this work. You're gonna get it. He didn't put that instrument in that destroyer in the minds of men for nothing. It got its time. It got a day and an hour and a month and a year specifically. God knows. God knows. We got to have hope, brothers and sisters. Pray for the destruction of your enemies. Get ready to get out of this place. Some of y'all, I believe some of y'all love this place. You love it. Can't wait to see it destroyed. So I can be in rulership. That should be on your mind when you pray. Revelations 9 and 20. We're almost done here. Just about, right about done. Our praises. Revelations 9 and 20. And the rest of the men which were not killed by these plagues, yet repented not of the works of their hands, that they should not worship devils and idols of gold and silver and brass and stone and of wood, which neither can see nor hear nor walk. Neither repented they of their murders, nor of their sorceries, nor of their fornications, nor of their thefts. There's going to be some folk that's going to see this impending danger, and they're going to see us, the Israelites, talking about it, either on the street or online or in the store, and they just not going to repent. They're not going to do it. They're not going to do it. There's nothing you can do to make them do it. So I say, all praises. Yah's will be done. For those of us that know, let's obey Yah's word. Let's keep the faith of Yahushua. And let's do this work before we get this work. All praises. So we'll leave it there. We'll leave it right there. And for you that's joining us on Facebook, thank you for joining us. We'll catch you next time. Shalom. Yeah. Got any comments?